How many of you are fighting battles? Battles in your finances, battles for your family. Give me some background. Battles in your workplace, battles in your health, battles in your rise. How many of you are fighting battles? And what makes it worse is it's not one battle, it's a war with many battles. And you sometimes feel surrounded by your enemy. But I think very quickly of 2 Kings chapter 6, where Elisha was with his servant, and the king of Syria had sent a myriad of Syrian cavalry and of infantry and their host. And his servant said, "Alas, master, how do we do?" Because he felt surrounded by the enemy, and destruction, death, demise seemed absolutely imminent. But his master Elisha said to him, "Father, open the eyes of my servant so that he can see that we're not just surrounded by enemies, that we're surrounded by you and your entire host. And if God before you, who can be against you?" You know what brought the surrounding presence and power and manifest battle glory of God? It was the worship lifestyle. And worship is not necessarily only music. Worship involves how much you appreciate the value, the worth of God. I don't know about you, but this is how I fight my battles. To surround myself with God. And there's one call that makes him show up, and that's your worship. When you give him praise and worship, he'll bind up the noblemen of the enemy. He'll pull down their stronghold. He'll lift up his name as a banner of victory in your life. Come on, church, let's worship together. Let's worship together. This is how I fight my battles. Show me how you fight your battle.
This is how I fight my battles. How many victorious people do we have in here? Come on, say. This is how I fight my battle. Hey. Oh, this is how I fight my battles. Come on, church, let's sing together. Say. This is how I fight my battles. This is how I fight my battles. One more time, say. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight. This is how I fight my battle. 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 Sing it. This is how I fight my battle. This is how I fight. This is how I fight my battle. Surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like say, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like say, it may look like I'm surrounded, by you. It may look like say, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like God, it may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look
rooted in Christ, and you know your God cannot lie, and you believe this morning your battles are already won, let me hear you clap your hands and give God your loudest shout. Hey! The walls are coming down and we are victorious. Hey! The fragrance of my worship, it rose up to the Father. Hey! Come on, somebody give God a shout of praise. We'll sing it now if you know it, everyone. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunder, lightning were the response to my worship. Hey. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunderings, earthquake were the response to my worship. Hey, the fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Noises, thunderings, earthquakes were the response to my worship. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Hey, noises, thunderings, lightnings were the response to my worship. First it was fragrance, hey, then it turned to fire. My worship is my weapon. This is how I win my battle. Hey, first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. Hey, sir. My worship is my battle. Hey, this is how I win my battle. Everybody say, the fragrance.
The fragrance of my worship
Rose up
to the Father.
Everybody. Noises, thunderings, earthquakes were the response to the fragrance of my worship. Rose up to the Father. Noises, thunderings, lightning were the response. Everybody. The fragrance of my worship rose up to the Father. Hey! Noises, thunderings, earthquakes were the response to the fragrance of my worship. Rose up to the Father. Noises, thunderings, light. Hey! Were the response. Everybody say, first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. Hey! My worship is my weapon. Hey! This is how I win my battle. So first it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is my weapon. Hey! This is how I win my battle. Hey! First it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. Your worship is your weapon. This is how I win my battle. Hey! First it was fragrance, then it turned to fire. My worship is my weapon. Can we do this right now, everybody?
This is how I win my battle.
Throw your two hands up and say, this is how I win, win, win. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship released upon the earth. You sing it with me now, come on. This is how I win, win, win. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship.
Breathe upon the
Everybody lift it up, say now. This is how I win, win, win. This is how I win. The smoke of my worship. Hey! Sing it one more time. This is how I win, 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 win. Hey! This is how I win. The smoke of my worship. First it was fragrance. Hey, everybody come on. First it was fragrance. Then it turned to fire. Hey, your worship is your way. This is how I win my battle. Hey, first it was fragrance. Your worship is your way. This is how I win my battle. Two more times, say first it was fragrance. The fire is here. The fire. set at liberty them that are oppressed. Hey, everybody, you say first it was fragrant, then it turned to fire. Your worship is your weapon. This is how we remember. Hey, first it was fragrant, then it turned to fire. I shatter. The fire is here this morning. Everybody say first it was fragrant, then it turned to fire. Your worship is your weapon. This is how you win your battle. One more time, say first it was fragrant, and that castle yatasha. This is how I win my battle. First it was fragrance, and now it has turned to fire. Your worship is your weapon. Somebody, you have won. I said first it was fragrance, it has turned to fire. Your worship is a potent weapon. This is how I win.